Ladies and gentlemen, Advanced Formula, Gary Kroger.
Kenny, I always look forward to how you're going to introduce me. So Advanced Formula.
Yeah, you know why? Because I realize that everything I look at is Advanced Formula. My toothpaste is Advanced Formula. My shampoo is Advanced Formula. My moisturizer is Advanced Formula. Everything is the Advanced. I have nothing that's just formula.
What do you think that means, that it's advanced?
I don't know, but if they update Advanced Formula, it becomes...
It's old formula.
Yeah, that's my...
It's obsolete formula.
And matter of fact, I saw just the other day, and this was true, a big sign in my neighborhood that said Advanced Demolition. Which I thought
as
was...
opposed to old school demolition.
You might as well have that done. Anyhow, speaking of advanced...
Well, speaking of advanced, should I bring on Advanced Formula Kevin Kopelow?
As long as he is the Advanced Formula.
For those of you who don't know Kevin and his work, he's half of the American television writing and producing team, along with Heath Seifert. They wrote and produced All That, which I am a big fan of, and that led to Kenan and Kel, correct me, and then... That had a sketch called Good Burger, which you wrote into the film Good Burger. And even though you're about to be Advanced Formula introduced, I call you producer and a writer, you're also an actor because you were the stage manager, correct me if I'm wrong, for many seasons of All That. And the Advanced, you were also the sad clown, right?
Yes, I was.
You were the sad clown in Good Burger.
And a panelist on a show called Figure It Out that was on like every day because of my acting prowess on All That. I ended up.
I assumed you were an actor. You're pretty good.
And that bothers me too because I walk around and people used to recognize me. They go, "What are you doing now?" And I go, "I was never an actor. I'm not an actor." It doesn't happen when you're a writer. No one walks up to you and goes, "Hey, what are you writing?"
So people will come up to you today and say, "I recognize you as the stage manager from All That."
Not as much today, but it has happened recently. Like it happens, and if they kind of know, they kind of go, "Oh yeah." Here's
the picture that came up. Yeah. This was the thing I wanted to share. This is what came up when I did. Okay, you see? Can you kind of see Kevin Kopelow's picture?
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
Well, there's no picture.
It doesn't have a picture.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like a mystery person. Also, what does that say on there? 58 episodes. What was that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it said.
I've done hundreds of what show?
It says 1994 to 2019, 88 episodes you did.
Of what? Of All That?
Of being Kevin on. Of being the stage manager.
I believe that. I probably
All That was on air for 10 or 11 years, right? 10, 11,
yeah,
12
I
years.
did the first 6 seasons.
Okay.
And they were long seasons. They weren't like these 8 episodes. They were 22, 26, I think 31. They were long seasons. And we, there weren't many writers either. We worked pretty hard on it. Yeah.
Could you see that Kenan Thompson, of course, was going on? I mean,
yes.
And it was SNL in the Crystal Ball?
Yes. The first day we met Kenan, and again, I'm going to say we because I keep talking through my partner too, but the first day I met Kenan, he said, "I want to be on Saturday Night Live. This is the best show for me. I can't believe I'm doing this." Oh, okay. And I said, "Maybe you will for 25, 26 years." So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you who I thought was going to be the biggest star of them all was Amanda Bynes.
Amanda Bynes.
Yeah, she was, boy, was she. I was at her audition. She was great. 10 years old, let through,
She impressed me.
Here, I'm kind of an idiot. And of course I know who Amanda Bynes is. Of course I do.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, I'm not looking for dirt, but did she sort of derail in terms of her meteoric rise?
From my perspective, I worked with her just for a couple of years because she came in when she was like a 10-year-old, probably just turning 11. And then she got her own show and left our show. So I didn't work with her again. I would see her occasionally. Our paths would cross at like events and stuff. And I knew her parents, and then I lost complete touch with her, and I kind of saw her through the media just like you would or anybody. And I never really got. I don't know what happened, but she just kind of got out of the business. And
well, that's the thing that's kind of like interesting that I'll touch on, which is what happens of becoming a child star. Do you have kids?
Do I? Yeah, 2.
What did they ever want to go into the business at all?
Well, my son is writing now and trying to, do a lot.
Well, what
of
about acting? If either of them came,
no.
So that's good. Now, what about the parents that must come over to, or after your conversation, after it comes up to what you do, and they go, my 7-year-old is
Oh
so,
yeah, I used to get that a lot.
yeah,
I do, yeah. And
yeah.
they're pitching things as if I can do, I get a lot of, these days I get a lot of people saying, watch my daughter's play and things like that. And that happens a
It's
lot.
hard. It's difficult. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier now because
Right.
other people are viewing them. There, you put stuff up now and thousands of people or tens of people are watching them, but it's like,
Well,
it's
Yeah.
I knew what Kenny directed and in your association with Nickelodeon and so forth. I
yeah,
never called that children's television. Children's television to me is Sesame Street and da da da. I always
I
considered this young adult
I'm
television
with you.
because the, the,
I'm with
the the
you.
humor was often edgy.
Yeah. And it was difficult. You can't, no religion, no,
Yeah.
obviously no sex and drugs and politics, nothing like, not even current events. We really didn't tackle many current events and probably none of them. And so it was also very difficult. You're in this small box that you're writing in. And we also felt that we were giving kids kind of the benefit of the doubt of being smarter than talking down to them. So we
Yes.
always wrote with that in mind, like silly, but physical humor. Because I just always thought physical humor just everybody gets it, you know, and it's like an escape. We never wanted to teach
Right.
a lesson. We never, and so yes, the ratings and everything always say like 6 through 11 or something, but I don't know. I think it was
I,
we
yeah,
never looked at it that way.
yeah, and I think your demographic skewed higher. I'm certain of it.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
watched,
Yeah.
and I
I
was
mean,
probably in my
well,
50s.
well, it was also like you could say, also stoned adults watched it, yeah, or something.
Right.
I don't know. I think that's was one
See, I
of
should have
our.
directed Stoned because I didn't get a lot of understand a lot, which I really did find it challenging because the sketches that I would do, or even the shows that I would do for them, I had to laugh at everything because you have to laugh at everything, but I didn't really understand it, and I was always curious, like, well, these guys know that. I mean, this is what they do for a living, so I trust that this is an 8-year-old is going to find this just
It,
hysterical.
that kind of scary to me because I did understand it, and so that's why. Like
Exactly.
when I was a kid, I used to write like every thought. I would sit in class and instead of yelling stuff out, I'd just be writing stuff down. And I mean, I was every grade school, and I was always kind of the class clown, but I really wasn't disruptive or anything. So I would always take every idea and I just would see funny things. I'd write them down. And then this day came where I actually could use all these
Right.
ideas. I could go
Yeah.
right back to this place. And it was just like they just rolled out of us. We were writing, 5, 10 sketches a week. And, for years and years, it was like just
Well, I don't know that everybody understands your relationship, you and Kenny and Kevin. I mean, you guys,
Let's not go there.
well, we know
It's
his
always been
relationship with the
platonic.
mythical Heath.
He's never touched me ever.
Now, we said we
okay.
weren't going to talk about Dan Schneider. Now, the point is,
I'm
but
actually
you
here to
guys,
talk
you
about it.
directed shows that Kevin
Yes, yes,
produced.
yes, yes. Several.
Well, I know you, Kenny, and you
Yeah.
have a sophisticated sense of humor. And the way that you directed all of those shows was if you were directing adult comedy.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it was direct. Listen, there's a basic formula. So you want to get the coverage, and then
Yeah,
you want to do it quickly and fast, and you don't want to miss the joke. So there are
right.
things that you go into as far as just logistically. You want to make sure
The
you cover the action.
timing seemed mature to me. That's my point.
Sometimes, yes. Directing wise, I would occasionally make a note or a comment, but I let Kevin and Heath really kind of, determine the tone and what worked because listen. Ultimately, when you come in as a director in these kind of shows, unless you're doing every episode, you're kind of a substitute teacher. You walk in, the
Yeah.
showrunner and the head writers are, they're the ones that live with it and know what they want. And you're really just trying to make them happy. You really are. So that's what I did. Kevin, did I make you happy?
I was going to ask the
Very.
same
And
question.
you just have to do a little homework for a week. We already have a lot of it on there. You just watch a few, and you see the tone. The tone has been set. So
Right.
there you go. And
Well,
we and
gentlemen, and Kevin, you specifically, because Kenny's old news to me. What's the state of the art now, though? What is are the
of
same
sketch.
kind of shows? Yeah, of the genre of television that we're talking about.
Well, the sketch is my favorite genre of television because it's just quick and as a writer, 1 second you're outer space, the next one you're in a library, the next one, superhero. And so you get to use every muscle of every portion of your brain for different things, and you're not kind of mired down in one thing. So I always loved that. So I always had kind of a short attention span. The problem now is the kids have a shorter attention span.
Yeah.
So I think it appealed to them back in the day because, like I said, it was a very short, quick hit. You don't like this one, a new thing's coming up in 3 seconds. And then now, we tried to redo the show too. We brought it back a few years ago, right? And it got axed because of COVID, but we did another like 40 episodes or so. I have no idea, but we just went right back in and did it. And it was just a different kind of vibe.
Are
It
you doing
was
a show
like,
now?
there what?
Are you doing a show now?
No, we have a pilot going. We have
Oh,
a pilot
is it for
script.
for Nickelodeon or Disney?
Disney now.
Going
Disney.
back to Disney. Boy, you go back
Yeah.
and
Well, I've
forth,
been
don't
going
you?
bouncing back and forth.
Good
Yeah.
for you. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all there is for us. There's no, I think to answer your question, like with the sketch, it's not only sketch. I think kids aren't watching television as much, and when you
No,
say,
right.
you're not looking at it as kids TV, I'm looking at it as kind of as family TV as well. So it's almost like this co-viewing, even the parents kind of like it, and that's always good. They don't have to, but at least they don't dislike it. But now I just don't think that's happening. I mean, there's no more appointment television. People are binging everything at once, so you can't really get a good. Uh, I don't know. It's just different now. The climate's
Well,
different,
it's
and we're
YouTube.
trying.
It's
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, and we're trying to develop to that.
Right.
Well, that was my question then.
Yeah.
What platform do you develop for now?
We are now trying to do more of a single camera dramedy type adventure thing because
Well, the thing that my friend Mark Gordon came on, who's a producer, and we said,
yeah,
"So what's the
mm,
future?" And he said, "Mini dramas,
yeah,
vertical mini dramas."
yeah. And how did he mention how much money is in vertical mini dramas and
No,
how much
that's the
time
reality.
and
There's
yeah,
nothing
yeah,
now. There's
right.
nothing. Maybe there will be.
I,
I don't know.
I keep thinking about now is probably the hardest time to get into this business also.
I know.
I have a lot of, as we were our last couple shows, I mean, the whole thing with Zoom rooms where, writers don't even go to the set anymore. You can have a show shooting in Canada and half the crew it's just, it's not how it used to be. And you're not, Heath and I, when we were coming up in the business, we learned everything by being on sets and we had every job under the sun until we did what we did, until we got our big breaks and took them. But right now, and when we used to run shows, we would, back in the day, we still do, but back in the day, we would always be aware that 90% of your crew and staff don't want to be doing what they're doing on the show. They want, our assistant, I'm guessing, didn't want to be an assistant for the rest of her crew, Right. So you find out what they want to do and why they're on the set, and you're going, oh, you ever think about editing? Go shadow the editor for a couple of days. Go do that, and you start to learn and see how things are going. And the writers were certainly on the set all the time, and they got to fix problems as they were happening and watch us do it, watch Kenny and what, it's like you get this, and it just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't
No,
know
but you're absolutely right.
how it's going
I'm
to
very.
exist.
It's interesting. I'm very glad that, I mean, I think our parents, our generation before would be, oh, you kids, you have it so lucky today. Things are so much better off than they were for us. And now we're a generation looking back and go, boy, am I glad I'm not this generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, to get into this business now, tough.
To get into
Kevin,
any, I mean, there's people that do Zoom rooms in every walk of life. They never even meet each other. They never
Yeah.
even
is that going to work? I mean, we're in the early stages of the
No,
transition.
it's not working. It
Okay.
already isn't working. It's already kind of, I just know too many writers that are not getting experience and they're kind of going elsewhere and trying to figure out what to do.
Well, the other thing that I
It's
mention all the time when
frustrating.
people ask me what I miss about the business, and it wasn't directing, it was being in the writer's room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like
Yeah.
it. I mean,
There's nothing
it's
like it.
so, yeah, and I just, it's not Zoom. It's just not.
From generation to generation, when you were taking all the things that you identified with as a kid growing up and you put it on all that in the sketches and in your
Yeah.
shows. Well,
Yeah.
now there's a bunch of things because I have two grandchildren, one's 7 and one's
Jesus,
4.
really?
And
Uh,
what they're watching and the things that they see have nothing to do with anything that was in my experiencing. They're watching YouTube stuff, and the kids are relating to, uh, you know, th- being on the phone or the things that they do, their social interaction, Instagram, all of those kind of stuff. It's not my childhood.
it's interesting. That's where a lot of the ideas blended with the physical humor because I'm like, you know what? Ultimately, they're going to like these characters. I can throw out certain sketches. Loud librarian. Very simple, right? You get it. She's loud. She's telling all the kids to shut up, and yet she's playing pinball machines and it just keeps getting louder and louder and worse and worse. She's
Except
interrupting
there's no,
stuff.
my kids, if I said librarian to any one of my
They
kids,
would be
they'd have
there.
no
Right, right,
clue.
Right.
right,
So there's
right.
no libraries anymore. So now you're like, okay, what is it? What would it be? What would she be quiet at? And you
Hmm.
just have to kind of think what they're seeing and what they're doing. So it's more, they still go to classrooms, they do. So you just have to do.
Well, I want to talk about the fact that you developed the Good Burger sketch from all that into the Good Burger movie, and that actually became two films.
Yes.
And I'm a fan of them. I mean,
Oh, good.
I don't think I'm saying anything rude, but it didn't set the box office on fire.
No,
I remember the reviews were, well, this isn't my cup of tea, but the target audience will love it, and they did.
that's the first review I've heard. I never look at them,
So, are
never.
you and your invisible rabbit partner, Heath, able to develop film ideas? Is there a way to have Good
We,
Burger 3?
well, we have been pitching these things forever. We did write an animated Good Burger. We've written, and they just chose this one that we just wrote.
Do you know what the number one movie in America is?
Today?
Right
Back,
now. That
yeah,
back,
yeah.
what's it called? Back
Back
doors or
back
something?
rooms.
Back rooms. Yeah,
And Backrooms was developed on YouTube. It's been on YouTube for 5 years.
I didn't know that.
And when they talked to, I guess it was A24, I'm not sure, whoever was the executive, said that the difference was that it succeeded because it cultivated an audience over 5 years on YouTube. And that YouTube people would comment on the movie. They would be invested in the movie. Not in the movie, in each episode. They would give ideas to the filmmakers on which direction and what worked and what didn't work. And based on their input, the the kid, who's a 20-year-old kid, wrote the script. And
Huh.
so what happened is they built up an audience on YouTube. And I got to tell you something. Just off of him saying that and the success of the movie, I think most movies now, unfortunately, are going to be based on successes of ideas that are created and cultivated on YouTube.
I'll tell you okay, when you're pitching now, I don't know how much are you guys pitching? Gary, you pitch it all now these days?
I used to, that I was in the same life, but I'm far removed.
So now the current state of this is they have a huge thirst for IP, intellectual property, something that's already been done, a book, a period, something that has already been, and it's also odd because it's obscure. It doesn't even have to be a pop, just as long as somebody okayed it at some point in time, then
Yeah.
it's okay to at least try to move forward on that. So the agencies, production companies, they're buying all these every random book you could ever hear of that you've never heard of, and you go in there and they start pitching to you like, "Hey, what do you think of this? It's about a school bus drive," and you're like, and at some point, I have a problem with this because it's very frustrating. It doesn't anger me. It just makes me frustrated because at some point there was original thought, all of these were original thoughts,
Right.
at some point. So there's no blending of this anymore. It seems like unless it has been proven somewhere, like you're saying on YouTube, or that just happens to be the flavor of the month or year, but it's books, it's all this other, old comic books that no one's ever heard of. Whatever it is, they're all bought up now, and the best thing if you were an author in the 70s or 80s, you
Yeah.
probably have some sort of holding deal, but it's just different. That's what's different now.
Is there right now in production live action kids sitcom that's succeeding?
No.
Not a one.
Not that I can think of, no. And there reboots. There are
Well, my
No,
friend's doing Wizards of Waverly Place, but I think
that's a
that's even
reboot.
it's a reboot, and it's
Yeah,
the last season of that.
Well,
yeah.
let me ask you a question. I mean, from an actor's perspective, because that was my, bread and butter for 20 years.
Oh, okay.
How do actors make a living? I mean, if you're not Tom Hanks or Meryl Streep or whomever,
Or Kevin,
bankable.
the stage manager.
Uh-huh.
I made my living day to day. I'd get a job here, get a job here, guest star
Yeah.
here. Hopefully this will go. Oh, you're doing a pilot. Maybe it's at a back end, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah.
Is anybody making a living among the rank and file, whether being a director, a writer, an actor?
I go back to that's why this is the worst time in the business to get into this business right now. It is not a financial decision anymore. It's not you have to just do it for the love of the craft,
Yeah.
and then maybe something will happen, but nothing like that anymore. Those days are kind
Yeah.
of
Listen,
yeah.
I'm still, I mean, I get residuals for all the shows that I've done. We're down to like, which is ridiculous that they're sending out checks for like, 10 cents.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's,
I get
why,
those.
is there a thing where you
A
could just say,
dollar 74.
right? So why, isn't there a thing where you should be able to say,
Great.
listen, if it's under $10, just donate it towards the union? They don't even give you that option.
I have been proposing that for decades.
Oh, okay.
Save the postage, the envelope, the
Yeah,
labor who stuffed
right.
it, and the dollar 72. An actor or a director or writer can say below $2, put it in the fund to have a fund for health care.
Well, my point and the reason I brought it up was because at least in those days, as a director, as an actor, as a writer, residuals, you can make those were the deals. Those were all part of it. You were in the DJ. Well, now with streaming services and YouTube, those deals don't exist anymore on YouTube. You brought up, is there any money in those vertical mini dramas? No, there's not. And even if there is, even if they buy you out, you won't get those checks anymore. It was
Yeah.
nice in the beginning. It was nice to have those checks.
Also, one other thing is they're not picking up when you do the pitching has gotten to this point now where you also pitching itself is different. So it's like you have to do these decks. Do you know what those are? Where you put
Oh yeah.
together
No.
Yeah.
these visual presentations and these decks
Like a
started.
PowerPoint for a
Yes,
corporation.
they started at corporations with charts and graphs and and
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
stick figures and
What's the
Venn
demographic
diagrams.
going to be?
Yeah,
Yada, yada,
and,
yada.
and
Yeah.
it was kind of a way to make boring stuff understandable, and you'd remember. You go there's a pie
Yeah.
chart, But
What's it called again?
now, decks. They're called
Deck. A pitch
creative
deck
decks.
or creative
So,
deck.
so
Okay.
DECK. So what happens is now my job is not only I'm just not used to that. I don't do that. So it's like now you got to worry about this cute font and the color schemes and it's like that's not what it is.
Yes.
And these pictures you got to pop, it's like, oh, the dad is like a Ben Affleck type, and you put a picture of Ben Affleck, and it's
Right.
not you're
Well,
not
you don't
used
have
to
to
Ben
do that,
Affleck.
Kevin. You don't have to do that. A friend of mine did this kind of preparation. So that was her
There's
job. She
another
would help.
point. That's who's making all the money. It's the deck people. I'm telling you, because we've had to pay people because I don't do that. And and you have to do this. So now you have to pay to pitch,
The
basically.
lack of humanity, though, is we're going to pay a creative price. Now, look, I used to be able to go in and pitch a sitcom idea, and I'd go into the room and you judge from the people if they're starting to frown, I'll go this way. It was
Yep.
human, it was organic, it was in the
Yes.
moment. And I could save pitches that
Yes.
the deck would have failed.
You hit it right on the head. That's where I was going with this too. There's no wiggle room anymore. Just like
Right.
when you used to do it in person, you'd have your notes. They go, "Hey, can you leave your notes?" We go, "No," because
No.
half the things on here aren't what we just told you, and they're just for our consumption. And it's the same thing with the decks. They are etched in stone. That's it. If you're dropping that off, and if you're giving it to them, you're showing all your cards. Whereas when you're in the room, you can tailor it to what they're saying and formulate, and you just say stuff like, exactly. Of course, I have a
Exactly. Yeah.
cousin.
And it was fun. For me, it was a performance.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Well,
And
we are the last of humanity.
the three of us, here we are. When this
Yeah.
ends,
Could this be some sort of
what
pitch
do we
deck
do?
of three? We're not middle aged because we're after middle aged.
I'm
Because
after
I'm not.
middle-aged.
You're a couple years younger than me, Kenny. You're a couple years older than me, but we're in the same milieu.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean
you
Death's
think we have
Door? Is that the
legs?
milieu you're talking about? Death's Door?
No, we're far short. We still have ideas, we still have energy, but we're being
Definitely.
dismissed by
Well, let's
most
try to.
people.
I want to go and lighten things up about Kevin. Is there a particularly funny moment that happened with a sitcom or all that you can like recollect? There's a couple of that I have that were just like hysterically funny.
Do you mean that we're supposed to be, or
Or
that?
Or
not. Right. Yeah,
either
yeah,
way,
yeah.
but inadvertent
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
best.
I mean, I have favorite sketches that didn't quite go the way I wanted, but I mean, and we've had some pretty crazy things happen. Like you name a situation. I'll tell you one situation that happened to us was we were shooting. I did the show called Austin and Alley,
I
and it was
directed it. I directed a
yeah, I
couple.
know you. In Sabrina Carpenter's episode, you directed, by
Yes,
the way.
that's right. That's
Oh,
right.
That's right.
She's never called. Never. Not once.
She I can't stop. I had to block her. So so we're shooting the last we're shooting the last episode of a season, right? It's like, I think season two, I think. And so we went all out with the big sets and the, we had, and so anyways, I say that because you have to tear down the set after the first day. So we shoot on Thursday, Friday, you know this. So we do the live show on Friday. So Thursday we shoot. I get a call and it's very elaborate. We have these dance numbers and stuff, and we had built a fake swamp, and it was crazy. So I get a call at 11 o'clock at night saying, you're not going to like this, but camera two wasn't on. We're like, what are you talking about? Camera two was never on. The light came on, but it never, we were at KTLA, we were shooting at whatever old studios,
Oh.
never. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So we only have one. Yes.
yes.
Our producer said, okay, I'm going down right now to editing, and I'm going to go watch and see, and that's not a fun situation,
No.
right? That is not. And so meanwhile, they're tearing down the sets. We have to call over there going, you got to find a guy at midnight and go, stop, and then we realize we can't shoot just tomorrow. We'll never be, that's it. We can't do the show anymore. So we got very lucky. You know the director, Shelley Jensen, you know who he is?
No.
He did our pilot. So Shelley, he somehow miraculously, he records the master. So we could go off of that.
Oh.
I don't know. We got lucky
But that was
because
in the line cut. That's because they had a line cut.
yes, he
But they don't
records
have
them
line
in.
cuts anymore.
Well, they did then.
Yeah, they did then.
They
Good thing
did
they had
then, but we
line
did it.
cuts.
This
Yeah.
is several years ago.
So
So the
people know
character,
what a line cut is when the director's in the booth who's actually calling the cameras live, which that was what I
right, right,
used to
right.
do.
It's the master line cut. So
Yeah.
it's what's on the screen, not the other four screen. It's what
Right.
his vision is at that moment.
Right.
So one of the things that we did was we turned it into such a huge positive because so we saved the show and we could use it. We looked at the footage. We go, oh, we can use. Oh, that's great. That scene's great. So at that point, so from that point on with that episode, when the network would give us notes, we go, oh, we can't do it because the camera two thing. And they go, oh yeah. So that episode was the easiest episode we ever did.
That's great.
We
I'll
can't
tell you an
change it.
episode you might remember. We were doing Keenan and Cal, and we were doing the show, and all of a sudden, Cal turned up the next morning, and he didn't have any hair.
Yep, and we wrote around it too. We
Wait,
wrote around it.
who had no hair?
Why did he shave his head,
Kel
Cal?
Oh,
shaved his
so
head.
Cal shaved
Between
his head.
Thursday and Friday, Kel shaved his head. So we shot Thursday, and then Friday he came in with a different. So we wrote around it. We actually wrote a bit where he got a hat stuck on his head and couldn't get it off the rest of the episode, and we weaved it in. We reshot one little thing from the right, and we did
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
then we had it so it came off with his hair in it because it was stuck with glue, and we just
Funny.
wrote around it. And we
See?
do these things.
AI can't do that. That took a
No.
human being live in the moment.
That's right. And we don't panic. We just, again, it's just from years of just, we just figure it out. We just sit down. We've had many of those.
Yeah,
We've
love
had
that.
a lot of
yeah,
situations. Not
yeah,
Kelly cut his hair many times. I think he kind of just went, oops, it was like, whatever, these are kids and we move
yeah.
on.
But it's challenging. It's challenging with kids, and I don't know if people realize this when they want their kids to be in the star. You have to stop. I don't know what's the hours for them to go to school. It's not like regular
Oh, yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
It's not like regular actors. It's like, oh, we'll take a break. We take a break because they have to go and do their homework.
And
I
they
go
have
and have a
someone there
smoke.
they have someone there policing it too. Like, hurry up with this scene. So there's like this extra person, this teacher, school teacher, and they have to tell you got 6 more minutes. and then we're like,
Well,
okay. So then
ultimately, that's a good thing.
yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah.
great thing, but it's
Yeah,
not. It's a great thing, but and I
but it's a
really have to say,
challenge.
Just an added
very
pressure. That's
challenging.
all. And you
Yeah.
work around it, and you're used to doing that. That's all.
But it's
You know,
hard for the kids. I think it's hard for
And
the
we would
kids.
stagger them in the script because of it. We would go, wait a minute, if Keenan and Kel are in the same scene, and they were older. Luckily, they became 18 somewhere in there. But before that, also you could do things. The sketch show was a lot easier because you just go, oh, they don't all have to be in it all day. Each one's in different sketches. But when you're doing sitcoms and things, you just you think about it while you're writing it. You're going, well, if they're in too many scenes together, it's not going to work. We'll never get this done. So
Do
we
you
write around.
remember any particular note from the network? Because the God, there was a lot of notes that was
Do
like,
I?
oh man. I mean, it was, and this is what I always go back. The process of trying to make something funny with everybody coming in. You gotta, first you gotta show the producers and the writers the scene, and then the network comes down in the afternoon, or the studio comes down, and you've showed it 3 or 4 times, and everybody has to laugh at every joke to make sure, because if you don't laugh at the joke after you've heard it 15 times, everybody goes, "Is that funny?"
Yeah.
That must have been challenging for you, Kevin, right? To have to, like, you're listening to the same joke from the writers' room where it was funny to 3 days of hearing it.
We would always have backup Joe because that was the other thing. Like the network wouldn't laugh because they've already heard it at the table read or they've read it, and you're going, well, of course you're not. But so when we would shoot in front of a live audience on a Thursday, and the audience would laugh, we go, see, but we always had backup, always had a backup joke, and we're really good on our feet, and we just would. That was my favorite thing. Think when something didn't get a laugh, trying to come up with something new, or if it did, trying to get something funnier, and that was always my favorite thing. We had a story where we used to shoot in Florida, and we shot at Orlando Universal Studios in Florida.
Yes, and the people would
And
walk
so we
behind
were,
while we were doing the show. The people could watch behind
hey,
you while
hey,
we
we
were
were
on a
what
part of the
directing.
what
tour,
year what year were you in Orlando shooting the show? Because
94 through like 2000. I was going back and forth
I
because
was there
oh,
doing
really?
Beat the Clock, and I
That's
would go over to your set
crazy.
all the time.
That's crazy. We would have then I started going once a year. I mean every other 6 months because we had Keenan Kelders. We moved that to L.A. So we can go back and forth. Or we moved all
But
that to L.A. so we can
but
go.
but go back to your story.
Oh no! So like there was a week where remember Coolio, the
Yeah, of
the
course.
rapper, great
Yeah, of
guy,
course.
very nice. He was a good friend of the show because he did the Keenan Kel theme and he was on all that a few times. So he came with his friends and they had a little thing and he wanted to go into the park. So he wanted to go on some rides. It didn't tell anybody. And not only did he not tell anybody, but he went into the park and took one of the young extras with him, just this little boy that wanted to go and didn't tell his mom. So we thought the kid was missed like MIA. And he
Huh.
went with Julio and they found him and the kid in the park like hours later. It was crazy.
Well, I love
And
the
they're like,
fact that when I directed those shows, some of those shows, you got a pass to go into the park.
oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
great.
We just showed our badge. We can go anywhere we
Yeah,
want.
that
Well,
was
Kenny,
great.
did you direct shows from Orlando as well?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, he
I
was in
stayed at a
Orlando. We
great
did a
hotel.
pilot there too.
They put us at a great
I was
hotel.
there. I was there shooting in the
I
same
didn't know. I didn't
studios.
know. Um,
Kenny, do you remember we did a pilot there? We did
yes.
Tuned In. Remember that? That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's
Wow.
always fun with you guys because you're nice guys. Not every showrunner
Well,
is a
thank you.
good person, which is weird. I'm sure you know there's some showrunners are crazy. Some are there to have a good time,
Yes,
and to
we're there to
laugh.
have a good time.
Yeah, to have a good time. But I also wanted to bring up, you talk about celebrities, Chris Farley
Yes, yes.
did the Catch-Up Boy with Keenan, right? Remember
I have
that?
I have a picture in my office with us
He
with him.
signed a script. He signed a script for me. I don't know if it's worth anything,
I
but he said, like, my favorite director, whatever. He
fill
was a
fill me
sweet
in. I don't know
guy.
this. Fill me in.
We
What are
did
you
a
talking
sketch
about?
called Randy and Mandy. It was a these kids who just cooked with chocolate. That's all they did. They would make like a turkey and they go, "It needs something, chocolate," and then
Chocolate.
they would just get bigger and bigger. And it was Keenan was he was Randy and he had his sister Mandy. So this particular thing, we knew Chris Farley was going to be on the show, so we wrote a third character. I think we called him Tandy. I don't know what we called him. So he came in and destroyed the
Sweetheart.
whole set. He was great.
He was sweetheart. John Leguizamo was also on the show.
One of the things that Chris Farley did was he didn't want to do a second take.
That's
And
right.
it was very messy. It was a very messy sketch, because you would drop
Yeah, yeah,
chocolate.
yeah, yeah.
It wasn't just like we're taking candy bars. It was always a new way to get
Right,
chocolate,
right.
whether it was a hose or a chocolate shower. So with his thing, he wanted to bring in Ketchup Boy, and he brought in his real brother. who's a
Right.
really great guy. And he came in and sprayed ketchup everywhere. And then Chris Farley jumped on the table, broke the table,
Of
broke all
course.
the thing. And so we didn't have to do another take. And
Well,
he
he
said,
made sure we
well, I
weren't
guess
going to
that's
do
He
it.
another.
made sure.
He made sure we weren't
He
going
did
to
it
be
on
able to.
But
purpose.
that kind of comedy also lives in the moment. That's very hard to reproduce.
Exactly.
You know, he was a very spontaneous.
Do you
Yeah,
remember John Leguizamo?
I do.
Of
Did
course.
you
He was
direct that one?
difficult. He was difficult. Yes, I directed that.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was
Talented.
He wasn't difficult to us, but we heard that he was. So what happened? What he
He just had very, I think he was trying to make it serious. I think he was trying to make this, it was like a Star Wars kind of like space sketch.
remember that?
And
Yeah.
I think it wasn't, we were just trying to make, I think it was originally intended just to be a funny sketch. But
I
I
would
think he
hope.
wanted,
Yeah.
but I think he wanted to imbue it with some kind of like more serious, intentional. I think suddenly it took on a Latino element somehow.
Some sort
Really?
of
Something.
cultural
I remember that
relevance.
him and Brian were in a serious discussion, and we were trying to move along. That's
But
that's what I
I'm
remember.
sure we managed to edit around certain things,
Yeah,
or even
yeah,
bring him to understand.
yeah. But it is an
People on there,
interesting. There were a lot of
that's the other
celebrities
thing.
that did those shows.
Well, when the celebrity came on, they were always on their best behavior. That's why that kind of shocked because they were with kids and they just, they get it, and they
Let's
usually
talk
got,
about
you
let's
know.
talk about parents.
Oh,
I yeah. Listen, it's very interesting to see the parents sitting in the bleachers and whatever and having to watch their children perform. I'll tell you an incident that I had with Raven. Now, I've never had this problem, but I'm wondering as a producer if you ever had an issue. Was one day on Raven, the door slammed and I heard screaming, really loud argument screaming. And of course, the stage manager goes, "Well, that's lunch." It's like,
who,
okay.
who was
And
screaming?
the parents, because one of the other parents had parked in that parent's parking spot.
Oh no.
Oh
Oh my
no,
God.
So did you ever
no,
end up with the politics?
no.
You
That is
never.
ne
In all of the shows
No.
that you've done.
I can tell you one thing. We used to want to interview the parents first before we met the kids, really.
Interesting.
So we would see, so we had a situation we were doing Austin Alley actually, and we were shooting something and we were walking down the hall. No one knew who we were, and we saw this mother just yelling at her kid, just completely out of control. And we said, well, unfortunately, he's not getting the job. No matter what happens, we're not working
Yeah.
with this kid because we just saw his, and she didn't know who we were. We didn't, but
Yeah.
we just don't stand for
Well,
that.
that's probably a
Yeah.
whole episode to talk about that relationship between stage parents and child actors and that
Yeah, yeah,
dynamic with the show and the producers. And
I
yeah.
found that
and
a lot of the parents on all that were very not hands-on. They were because, I think they think your kid can be replaced or something, and some of the kids didn't even they had guardians there and, they didn't always have their parents on the set. And
yeah,
and the parents that were there and hanging around were just, I'm telling you, they were just wonderful people and just really happy to be there
maybe
with.
it's just Kenny that has bad
I
experiences.
don't know. Keenan's mom was incredible. I just saw her recently. She's amazing. She was just like very
Whose mom?
encouraging. Keenan.
Oh, okay.
Keenan's mom.
Ann Thompson. Oh, oh,
You know, because he's such a joyful human
yeah,
being.
yeah. Kel's
Yeah.
mom. I mean, the two of them were like best friends.
Yeah.
When we were
Well,
doing
it
that
showed.
show,
That was the chemistry
they
of the
were,
show
yeah,
and the
yeah,
Yeah.
movie.
yeah.
No,
Uh,
well, you're fortunate. I'm trying to think of some of the other shows that I've done. Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena and her mom. Her mom was wonderful. So she was totally normal.
I've
But
met her.
yeah,
Yes.
she was really
Yeah.
nice.
Kevin, you and your mythical
Yes.
6 foot invisible rabbit
Yes.
friend named Heath,
Should be
uh,
safe.
Say
you
hello for me.
you you get last word. Like, what's next? What's on the docket?
We're
What's
going to keep
in your future ball, your crystal ball?
are going to keep going at it. I haven't given up yet. I'm not aged. I don't feel that I'm aged out to do family television. We're going to try to keep bringing family television back.
Good.
What form that is, I'm not quite sure, but we're really trying. I think we have a really good shot here at Disney this time around. I think we're trying to crack the code, and we ultimately want to bring back some form of sketch comedy as well that will appeal to the new, I guess, generation.
Yeah, Yeah. Well,
That's
I
where
think
we're at.
you're as long as you stay as immature as I remember you.
That'll never change. And then I figure we don't have to do, we could pass it on to someone else, and then the young people can take it over, and it could be it's the best. And I'll leave it with this too, because it's the best training ground for everything. You know, you could take these kids that are in these sketches, and they become actual. You know, it's a great training ground for everything, for
Yeah.
writing, producing, directing, acting, everything. So,
Hey, Kevin, always a pleasure. Well, I know it's always a
always,
pleasure,
man.
but sometimes.
A real pleasure for me to actually meet you. I knew of you. I mean, I even
Great to
saw
meet
you
you as
work,
well.
but not knowing who you were in Orlando.
Yeah.
Kenny, it's always a pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you today. I want to
really
thank our audience, whether you watch us or listen to us on all the popular podcast platforms. We are on YouTube TV, The Gary and Kenny Show. Give us a thumbs up, ask us a question, make a comment. We love that. We're on DV TV streaming television. Anything I missed, Kenny? We're on
Good night, Gary.
All right, so long, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Kevin, thank you so much for, starting your memoirs with us.
That's awesome.